Today on the Skid Factory, the Huko project is gaining momentum.
Are we going for another mojo?
That's all I got. It's the last week of Movember, so head on over to our MoSpace and donate. It's for a very good cause, men's mental health and testicular cancer awareness. As you know, we're big advocates of getting people help, and particularly men, if they have mental health difficulties. We lose way too many good blokes to suicide due to mental health problems, so we want to reduce that or stamp it out. If you're in Australia and you're in crisis, you can call Lifeline 24 hours a day and get some counselling. If you want some long-term help, go and see your GP. Medicare has a great setup for both medication and psychological help. I can attest that it is the best thing that you can do to help yourself. So get onto it. If you're overseas, we don't know exactly how you can get help, but if you want to get into our pinned comment in the comments section, put down your country and a link to where you can get help in your country. That would be awesome. Let's do some work. Made a bit of progress off camera. Got the radiator, which is some Volkswagen thing that we got off eBay. Cheap as. It's fair size. Fits between the rails really nice. We sort of organised all that before we painted the engine bay. I just had to modify it because this is running AN fittings and no thermostat or anything like that. So I've welded a single -16 onto the bottom outlet and two -12 tops. Didn't have a filler, so I don't know how it worked originally, but I've just welded on a 1.25 inch mandrel bend with a standard filler cap on it. I had to make a top bracket for it to hold it in place. We already did the bottom brackets when we did the engine bay, and I ended up with a folding like that. It's basically killing two birds with one stone. It both holds it in there, but it's also an air stopper. It stops the air from going around the radiator, basically. So
a duct?
Duct? No, it's not a duct.
Dam?
A dam.
Air stopper's good.
Air stopper. Yeah, that sounds mint.
Alright.
That's science. So that's all good to go. I've added another air stopper on the bottom here to make sure the air doesn't go around the radiator, because it don't work if it doesn't go through it. So we can stick that back in shortly. Sort of music? Smooth jazz?
What about the clutch?
What about yacht rock? I'm getting to the clutch. Just
okay.
Calm down. We're going to have some yacht rock. I want yacht rock.
What kind of a genre is that?
It's a genre.
Okay.
Yacht rock. Clutch, we went through a heap of options, and I called George, our mate, who was a clutch guy and now a brake guy. Very smart dude. Thanks for the help, George. We ended up, because we had no height with the original clutch, nothing was going to work properly. So, and it's also the clutch wasn't really big enough, we don't think, for the application. So we've ended up with a twin plate clutch, and we got it with the optional higher. So it's got a thicker centre section, so it's got a higher stack height, which brings everything into line as far as your throw-up bearing and that sort of thing. So that can go in. Gearbox is in, but we'll just pull it back out again, load up some clutch stuff, make some more measurements and put it back together. So that's a good thing. Yacht rock or smooth jazz?
I like smooth jazz.
It's only because you know where to find it.
Do you know that George is also a top-tiered Patreon?
Yeah.
He's in the hoist.
Is he?
Yeah.
Can we cross him out? No, we wouldn't do that. Yacht rock, right?
Sure. Can it be?
It reminds me of cruising in that R33. Did you forget to put the nut on?
No, the nut we can put the nut on from the other way first. I did,
I bet you that won't happen later.
The nut
on.
goes from this end.
Start this one too, I can't reach it. Plus you didn't bend it right.
Hey Goody, what you doing over there?
Oh, just have a look.
Nice shirt, dude.
Well, you don't. Other one.
Oh, he's a good guard dog, alright. That's your favourite shirt too, isn't it, Goody?
Shout out, get your merch. C10 Australia.
get your Skid Factory merch out of it. Those bends though.
Looks like way overcomplicated.
It's good. It's nice. What's the closest distance you can bend? You can bend with a nut on.
Just put it on first and then bend it, wouldn't you?
How good are distractions?
It's not a distraction. I need the input shaft to line up the twin plate clutch.
How good is having a spare
But the lathe is good. Yeah.
TR6060 input shaft to make your own?
It'd be better if it was a full length one. So because they've cut this bit out, this is what we were talking about. Because they've cut that part of the spline off for the dual mass flywheel, it doesn't actually reach the front clutch disc. So we can't line it up properly, and those plastic things you get are useless. We stuck the plastic thing in there and it was like, looked like wacky inflatable arm man alignment skills. Wacky inflatable arm man! Oh yeah. Alright, here's where we're up to. Woody has made all the solid brake lines. They're all looking sweet. So if you ever need that work done, call Woody. He's really good at it and loves it.
1300 nope.
So you would have just seen me on the lathe fiddling around with this piece here. This is, I call it Woody's shaft. This is the input shaft off a TR6060. I just had to mill down the missing piece off the front of it so we could use it to align the twin plate clutch. We've changed from the single plate. It wasn't going to work, and we don't think it was going to be big enough anyway. So we've got a twin plate clutch in there now. They do come with an aligning tool like this, which is much better than nothing, but they just don't work with twin plates. There's too much mass pushing downwards on them, and they just don't align properly. So hot tip for you, if you've got a pile of broken RB20 gearboxes behind your Sylvia, cut off an input shaft before you chuck them in the bin. That goes for any other gearbox as well, of course. This is the best aligning tool you'll ever get.
Find them in the warranty room at your dealership.
Or that. Don't they normally get sold on eBay?
Yeah, shh, don't tell anybody.
So we've got the clutch. Well, what I was doing on the lathe, other than fiddling with this, was actually making a spacer for the throw-up bearing. Once we got that clutch on, we could then take our measurements of the actual clutch height, and of course it was halfway between the two options of throw-out, which is pretty much Murphy's Law. So we've done some measurements, worked out what sort of spacer we need, and I just milled up that out of, or turned it. I don't think it's milling, it's actually turning when you put it in a lathe. So I got to use a new lathe. I'm a full professional now. That's working well. It's sitting exactly in the right place, so that's sweet. Then we've got our remote bleeders. setup. So we're just using the original pipe here, and there's actually a fitting that you can get that pushes straight in the end there, converts it to dash 4. This is a dash 3 8 by 1.25, I think it is, converter, and it's just got a bleeder on the side here. So that's all ready to go. Of course, when you space the concentric cylinder forward, that clashes with the bell housing. That's why they're such a pain in the ass. So we milled the bell housing some channels in it to clear stuff, or just because I wanted to mill things. I used to just get the grinder and do it, but I've got a mill, so why not? So we're ready to whack that on and put the gearbox back in. So this has kind of held us up a fair bit because we need the gearbox in to make pipes, because everything's got to be there, otherwise you can't miss it. While we were waiting for stuff, we got stuck into putting the interior back in the car, or Woody did anyway. So he's got some horse-asbestos in his nostrils again. Put most of that back in, and he also hooked up the throttle. We just had to do a bit of fiddling and shortening and stuff of the throttle cable, and that's all working well. So bolt this back on, lift her up, grunt a bit, get that gearbox in, and move on to some other things.
This guy rocks up at 10 a.m. with the beer.
It's 11, bro.
That's 12 in New South Wales. It's a lemon squash, not a beer.
Is this this looks like it's going to clash with the floor before we even get around the clutch well.
Yeah.
Has this never gone in yet?
Not with a clutch on it.
Not with the clutch on, no.
Oh, it's nearly there.
Yeah, but we're smashing the... Hang on, just wheel the door. You might have to like lower this down or something.
On you.
Or can we just bolt on the bell housing first and then bolt the gearbox to the bell housing? Like it's...
Yeah, that's how they do it in Commodores, I believe. We're just living the twin plate clutch life, where it's very difficult to get the gearbox in because the clutch just protrudes so far, so we're contacting the floor. So the options are either drop the cross member down, which is not uncommon to have to do, or with these things you can actually put the bell housing on first and then put the gearbox onto the bell housing. So that's what we're going to attempt.
Back in this couple more still. Give it there you go. The dunk. Boom. That's such a good one.
Best sound in the world.
You can see while we've used a remote bleeder that it may have just fitted there, but they're really difficult to deal with, and they also dribble fluid back down inside the bell housing, which is a pain in the ass because it seeps out of the gaps for eternity. So remote bleeder, it's a good idea, even if it's a stock application. Most people would put a remote bleeding setup in it when they do the clutch.
Down.
Yep. Is it doing anything?
There's a pedal right at the very bottom.
All right.
Needs adjustment, I think. Down. All right. Let's see if we're in focus over here. I've had a bit of a win finally with the car. Bled the clutch up. Am I even on the screen here? We bled the clutch up. It's working all mint. We think it's working mint. I don't know. The disengagement's there.
It's working hydraulically, so that's part of the battle. We won't know until the engine's running whether it's disengaging at whatever point it's.
So you can change that trailer.
Yeah, this is a 3/4 and there is a 13/16. So if it's not throwing enough, which just depends on the clutch, you can go to a larger one. But the trade-off is it will, as you go to a bigger cylinder, it gets heavier on the pedal. But we're men, we can handle it.
It's pretty high. Don't forget about our 2 Pro X giveaway. Even if you can't enter the giveaway, jump into your Super Cheap Auto store and grab one. This is the actual kit that we'll be sending out. Not that exact one, but the same size. And there may or may not be a missing 10mm socket there because
it's a pretty good kit. It's got pretty much everything you need in there.
They're awesome. And they fit inside your toolbox. They fit inside your back of your car for when you go traveling. That's awesome. Go into the drawer to that, jump over to the merch store, spend $30 or more, and that's open to Australian residents only due to postage issues. We will be doing a international giveaway very shortly though too. So
with not for tools, but for something else that's pretty cool.
Well, they're tools too, yeah.
I guess they're tools.
Yep. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Huge thanks to everyone who's jumped onto our MySpace and donated. Check on your mates, give them a call, give them a hug. Alan and I hug every day, fun fact. You know that? Every morning.
He makes me.
Just bro out, it's nice. And as Alan mentioned at the start of the episode, if you're in crisis, contact Lifeline. If not, go and see your GP and get a plan going. It's a serious thing and we need to work on it, so talk about it.
That's it.
So we've had
It's not the 70s anymore. You can talk about your feelings now.
Yeah, you can. We've had some issues with postage ourselves this week with stuff getting
We've
delivered.
had some supply chain logistics problems.
Yeah.
That's the technical
Is it?
term. So hopefully all that stuff that should have been here this week is here
Tomorrow.
very soon, so we can get some more work done. This is pretty much the day before you're watching this, so we have struggled a bit. So thanks for your patience. Hopefully we'll get this bad boy fired up and make some dort noises sooner rather than later.
Yep.
Double
Keen.
dort.
I get to drive it too because Gav drove my car this week, so that means that I can drive your car, Gav. I'll reverse it onto the dyno for you.
Good story. No, you won't. Never again.
Thanks for watching, homies. Cheers. We've had a long week. Time for another long week. We'll see you next one. Cheers.
What is yacht rock?
Like Christopher Cross and that sort of thing. It's like stuff that you would play on your yacht. I thought that was...
I'd be playing like Fleetwood Mac on my yacht. It's Eagles and stuff.
That is yacht rock then.
Is that what you call it?
It's what you play on your yacht.
Maybe we just call Fleetwood
No,
Mac.
legit.
Yo, dog, can I use
Just
that
type
song on my YouTube
type it
channel?
into Spotify and it will come up. We had a full yacht rock soundtrack playlist when we went to the Whitsundays. It was mint. Don't forget, December 18th, Sydney Dragway, Haltech's 35th birthday bash. 1986, they made the first ECU,
When was the first year you wired one?
and it was laptop programmable, which nothing else was.
When was the first year you wired a Haltech?
I don't know, 2006, 7, I don't know. Back in the olden days. E8s and stuff.
Come sail away, come sail away.
You don't have a boat. Oh, yeah, you do.
Oh, I'm still recording. Hi, everybody. You're like 3 times the size now.
Let's just start a channel called Ridgeback Puppies and make bank and not have to do as much.
I know Mark watches the show, Alan. He's going to be very upset with you scratching the floor there, mate. And there.
Yeah,
And there.
pretty sure it was you. There's a lot more room than what you'd think.
So the question is, Gav, letterbox scoop or reverse cow? Or
Letterbox, like Lee's got a spare letterbox.
79 series Land Cruiser scoop and then have the filter inside the scoop, like a panel filter.
Yeah, then
inside.
it's like JDM, because Land Cruiser. That'd be sick.
Gav's so annoyed right now.
He's just call it a tow truck to take it away.
There'll be no scoop.
Look, you said it has to fit under the bonnet. We've achieved that task, but you didn't say anything about filters yet.